All right, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Proptech Genius Show. And today's genius is Shelley Robinson. Hey, Shelley, how are you?
Thanks for having me, Amy. It's good to see you.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is going to be fun because we get to talk multifamily. So I'm so excited because multifamily is my jam. It's where I was, it's where I've been. So it's always good to talk to another industry leader in the multifamily industry. So it's awesome sauce, especially since you spent years in Proptech. So this will be a great conversation. But I don't need to introduce you. You can introduce yourself to my audience and tell them how
Well,
cool you are.
you're that's really kind of you to say. I've been in property management and prop tech for a minute. Have a long background starting out in leasing and moving into lease up manager roles, marketing roles, operational leadership roles, and then about 8 years ago, I pivoted into prop tech at RealPage in customer success for strategic accounts and. Got the opportunity to work with a leader I've worked with twice in my career, Stacy Manis, and she's just been one of those phenomenal leaders that really kind of show you who you can be, sometimes before you even see it in yourself. So, most recently, I departed RealPage in July, took a 2 week road trip with my daughter who just graduated from high school,
Awesome.
and then started my own company called PMX Partners. I just launched it. So we're a outcome based engagement company, and I know that's just like a vague word, but we start with the end in mind,
Cool.
and whether that problem happens to be staffing and retention and performance modeling, or maybe you need success planning or hot list focus groups for a struggling portfolio. Maybe you need a prop tech engagement. That's what we're here to do, is actually have a goal, put the
Mhm.
engagement together, and then go out and achieve that goal with you as your partner.
Yeah, I think it's timely because I think the real estate industry is for sure going through a transformation, right? I mean, they're trying everything under the sun. Like, no, or do we centralize our operations? Do we do this? Do we do that? What do we do here? And I'm while it's painful, it's been so overdue.
It
Like,
is.
come
Yeah,
on,
agree.
people. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, the real estate industry has been living high on the hog for a long time and hasn't really needed to take a hard look at itself and how it operates. And
Yeah.
so I think it's, while it's super painful and I get it, trust me, I'm still in multifamily investments. I understand. But it's good for us to take a hard look at how we operate for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I always say there's pain. When there's pain, there's opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And you can kind of like the book, The Obstacle is the Way. Right
Mhm.
now, we have some obstacles, but it is showing us the way, whether that's retention, attraction.
Right.
We have a lot of talent, retention, and attraction issues going on, which to me speaks to a need to change how we incentivize to perform or how we
Right.
attract. And
Right.
someone attracted me to the industry. I don't know about you. Did someone get you into it by
Yeah,
accident?
well, it was honestly, truly, I was a general contractor and
Okay.
I was building retail stores and then became a real estate investor and then got in that way. So I was a real estate investor and then started owning multifamily. So that's how I got into the industry.
That's
Yeah.
a really good way in. People
Yeah.
always have a story of some kind of happy accident, right? And I think we
Mhm.
need to be more intentional, less accidents, more strategy with
Yeah.
regard to that.
Yeah, for sure. Especially as we feel like there's some sort of changing of the guard happening at leadership levels and getting and that's okay if there's
Yeah.
a guard to change too, right? But if you don't have somebody following up on the other end of that, then then you're like, "Ugh." I mean, we had forever. I was a general contractor since '03. Like we've always had labor problems. Like I was looking for
Always.
like trying to pull plumbers out from underneath rocks, like trying to find good tradespeople forever. It seems like it's been a constant struggle. And you can find them and you try to hold on to them and then they flake on you. And then you're just having to
Yeah.
search for another good one. So this talent crisis that we've had in the trades and in maintenance, and it's been going for a long time. And
Yeah.
it's interesting to see where it'll end up. I will say, I was just watching before I got on here, I was watching this video of a robot and it was doing stucco outside of a building. It was right next to a guy that was there, but it was going fast and it was putting on the lay and it was like having at it and it was doing stuff and recognizing that there was a window and stopping and then going down and doing like it was it was an Optimus robot and I was like, oh, holy hell, interesting. Okay. All right. Maybe that's our next maintenance technicians. I don't know, but we got to change the guard to something. I don't know.
It's an interesting topic right now because you hear a lot of things like, oh, AI and robots are gonna take our jobs. I always look back to my dad was a Michigan auto industry pattern maker,
Mhm.
and he got laid off about 8 years earlier than he planned to retire because
Mhm.
it moved to CAD. And I think, I'm a Gen Xer, and I think
Mhm.
right now we're also seeing kind of the need to change our skill sets
Yep.
and evolve those skill sets to stay relevant. I do think some jobs will be replaced, but there's
Mhm.
always new jobs that come out of the
Right.
replacement. So, this is a time, like you said, a pivotal time in our industry, automation, simplification,
Mhm.
staff attraction. We have to
Mhm.
attract different people for different jobs as this starts to come in. So
Yeah.
it's a good topic.
For sure. And then I mean obviously there's this whole thing. Obviously AI brings in its benefits and its cons, right? Its
It
pros and
does.
cons. But I
Yeah.
think one of the things that think that and we can talk about this and I don't know if RealPage ever addressed it, but the more super pressing need around cybersecurity and how AI is absolutely playing a key role in, I mean, phishing is just getting so much better, right? I mean, the biggest cybersecurity risk is human, and we'll accidentally click on something or accidentally do this or accidentally do that through like phishing emails. But it's an interesting time to think about and how AI is helping the hackers because they're using it too, y'all. I mean, they are. So, it'd be interesting. What's your thoughts around the whole cybersecurity
It's
issues?
funny. I actually had an Instagram password reset a couple weeks ago, and it was actually a hack, and it was a really, really good one.
Mm,
And I'm super trained on what to look for.
yep.
It really looked like it was from Instagram. I even looked at the email address, and they had actually found a way to kind of ghost the Instagram email address in it, and
Wow.
all my content got taken down. So I think every company that I talk to in prop tech, this is a theme
Mhm.
around keeping up, right? It's
Yeah.
keeping up
Yep.
or getting ahead of
Yep.
these themes in cybersecurity. And I think it also fits into even getting ahead or keeping up on AI in general,
Mhm.
whether it's generative AI or standardized algorithmic AI, there's a whole lot of conversation. And then how do you educate your, and for lack of a better word, consumer? We're in a B2B to B2C industry. There's a lot of education that needs to go on. How do you show the value? How do you show and gain trust? So I
Mhm.
think there's a lot of work to be done for customer success as well as marketing departments, all in line with the other departments that are actually doing the work to actually share those case studies and stories as they work on it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah. For sure. It's going to be an interesting time. It's going to only
it
take
is.
like one big, huge hack of some real estate company. And yeah. And I feel for like all of those, especially on the, I mean, can you imagine Graystar, the number of social security numbers? I'm not going to give you hackers any ideas, but just the amount of data that they have on people, like it's insane.
Data is king right now in every industry. And I think, I don't know a single company that's not highly focused on making sure um,
Mhm.
that they're ready as they can be.
Yeah,
I have,
I was having a conversation. This isn't multifamily, but it could be, right? It could be coming soon to a multifamily property near you. There was somebody who has been in the medical industry, medical real estate industry for a
yeah,
long time.
yeah,
And they have to basically do a cybersecurity audit of every IoT sensor, Like if you walk in, it's yeah, because if they're always looking for the back door, right? Of somebody trying to come in. And so they're doing it at the hospital level, like looking at the HVAC IoTs and everything then and making sure that everything is secure and they're not forgetting one. It is an interesting when you get into operations like that, and then maybe
Mm.
multifamily can take a page out of that book and understand because as multifamily becomes more IoT centric, right? And different things like that, that could be a way that I'm giving hackers more ideas. Sorry, I'm gonna shut up now.
Well, you know, it's fun. It is funny because David Lorenzen, he actually had a post this morning. He's a recruiter and he was talking about how regional maintenance managers right now are being tasked with overseeing like 30 or 40 properties. And
Hmm.
how do they do that effectively? And
Yeah.
then who really owns on this topic the preventative maintenance? And I think it
Mm.
would be your technology team, but in partnership with maintenance of maintaining all of those smart devices and
Right.
having a scheduled plan with your Proptech software to really make sure that you're regularly reviewing the preventative maintenance of that in your smart devices because there's
Right.
hardware and there's software with it and then there's the cloud with it. It touches so many different things. I think it speaks to it's a complex industry. It really is. We have a lot of complexity in prop tech, complexity in marketing and operations. How do you advocate in the prop tech space for working on simplification
Hmm.
through the roles, right? All the roles in multifamily are getting a lot more complicated. When I started in leasing, I would fax documents to
I
the
know. I
office and
remember.
FedEx a nightly package with a floppy disk in it. You know, that's how old I am. Um,
I
but
remember.
things have we got worried if the floppy disk got lost right in the FedEx package. That was our biggest concern. So things have gotten a lot more complicated for every role, every
Yeah.
single role.
For sure. And the amount of technical requirements for the staff now to understand software and really understand how to, do reporting and I was talking to Jennifer Coster. I don't know if you know
Yeah,
Jennifer.
from
Yeah.
Live.
Yeah, from
Yes.
Liv. And she was talking about how they have a data scientist on staff now. And she was like, she's probably the most important person in our company because,
Yeah, yeah.
interesting.
That's so
Like,
funny. She actually lives in my tiny hometown that I grew up in Michigan. It's so funny. She and I were,
really?
yeah, we were chatting about something and she had posted the lighthouse in my hometown. I'm like, that's the hometown lighthouse. She's like, oh, that's where I live in Arizona. I'm like, oh my gosh, small world. So
That is small. That's crazy.
yeah, great place.
Funny. Yeah, the multifamily world is very small world.
Totally.
Yeah. So what else do you see happening or any sort of trends in kind of multifamily that you see are
So
coming in like
it's
short order?
funny. Yeah, so I would say kind of top three are around simplification when
Hmm.
possible. So that feeds into automation of manual tasks, which is not simple. So it's at Blueprint, and then kind of in the conversations I'm having out in the space, I see firms emerging that are working to simplify those roles, automate those roles, partner on centralization, or centralization really isn't the end all be all word.
Hmm.
I would say it's really about what does work look like today and what does work look like in 5 years. These roles are going to change faster. And then in prop tech, I would say efforts around partnering together with all of the software companies, like what HappyCo has been working on with their API, and then Remen at PropXO, what he's been really working on
Right.
really, offering management, maintenance, and ongoing support as a service to APIs. I think he's really spot on working on that, and then kind of bridging those conversations across the industry.
Yeah, no, no, for sure. Integration's huge. We had so many people solving very specific pain points, and I get it. That's how kind of industries evolve, right? They go and then, but they didn't think about, oh, I might have to integrate with my neighbor software person. You
Yes,
know? And so
yes.
now that creates another problem that we gotta go solve. But I think we're getting there for sure. Yeah, getting there. I mean,
One other thing I would like to add is it's really cool to see a lot of founders and leaders entering the prop tech space from outside the industry.
Mhm.
A word of caution on that is I think it could be costly if they're not engaging with some what I call deepertise. For a little word, you need that deep industry expertise to really look at your customer journey, to look at your probable pitfalls or kind of what I call those costly lessons that happen if you don't have it. So
Yeah.
partner together. I would say partner together with someone with industry expertise so that you can make sure your pivot or your launch goes well into this small big industry.
Oh, I got you. I mean, I talk to founders all the time, and I'm getting my master's degree in technology commercialization at the University of Texas. So, and we talk all these topics around like product development and how the
Yeah.
best strategies and methods are. And I'm taking my product development class now, and I laugh because because I'll talk to founders, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we built this thing, and we think it's cool," and I'm like. Okay, that's great. I go, did you talk to one owner? Did you talk to one property manager? Like
Mhm.
what did you build it for? Why did you
Yeah.
build it? Well, we just thought it
Yeah.
was cool. And I'm rolling and I'm like going, well, I built my software, but I've been in the industry for 20 years. So I kind of
Yes.
knew what they needed in a general
Yes.
sense, but then I still went out and interviewed people. I still went out and interviewed because I've only been in multifamily and retail. That's all I knew. I had to interview a
Yes.
ton of people. And so, but yeah, and I go, I didn't pretend to know everything. So I love it when
No.
these founders come from outside the industry and they're following the shiny object and they get into Proptech and they go, oh yeah, we could do this, blah, blah, blah. And then you just like going, but
Yeah.
every good product development, no matter if it's stage development or if it's the Scrum process or if it's
Yeah.
you do an IDEO or whatever, IDEO or whatever, the art of innovation with Tom Kelly, that you interview people, you talk to the end user, you talk to them
Yes.
first before you even write one line of code. You talk to the end user and you build
Yes.
what they need, right? And so I just laugh.
I think one of the most wonderful things we have in our industry is we have all of these properties all over the country and all over the world that you can actually not only go interview, you can actually go work a day and do the
Yeah,
job and get
right.
the best experience right on the ground. There was a founder, and his name is escaping me at the moment, but actually went out and leased apartments. And I'm like, that's so smart. If you got a leasing
Right.
product, you might as well go lease apartments so you know what it's like.
Yeah, no,
So,
for sure. I know that. I
yeah.
mean, that's great. That's a novel approach. So let's go find out what they have to do every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, now and they have 16 logins to manage their
Is
job.
that it?
I know, 16.
Let's give them some
Yeah.
more.
And then we're still doing stuff in Excel, even with the 16 logins. I
Oh,
know. I
oh, Excel.
feel you.
You know,
I
it's I feel that way about PowerPoint now. I use Typeset now, big advocate for things to create automation that take
oh
up a
yeah,
lot of time, manual presentations, anything that helps simplify and
yeah.
make your staff experience a better place to be and work. You're going to actually have more retention and less
I know.
frustration.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm a tech founder, right? So I geek out on all the new tech. So I've used Canva for a while, but I just checked out beautiful.ai. Have you seen?
oh yes,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Ooh,
it's nice.
that's so cool.
I
Yes.
know. That's my
Um,
next one. I was trying to
Yeah.
get typeset down because I'm doing
uh,
a lot of content.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
seems to be my machine at the moment.
Yeah.
But beautiful AI is on the list.
Yeah. And then have you looked at Notebook LM yet?
Okay, so this is synchronistic. Last week I had happy hour with one of my former managers, and
Uh-huh.
you know, new founder, you can have some days where you're like, why, what am I doing? And she's like, put your resume into Notebook on Google and have them do the two-person podcast resume review anytime you're having a hard time. And I did it. And I was like, yeah, I'm a badass, just for 5 minutes, 5 minutes of badassery.
That's
And
cool.
it
I
just
haven't
kind of,
done that yet. That's
it's
awesome.
good. I highly recommend it if you need a boost someday. It's better than coffee for sure.
Oh, I'll have to do that and record it. I mean, that would be so much fun. Ah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, no, I use it. I didn't realize it was there until I started using it. Now I use it for like this on the Proptech Genius show. it takes your YouTube content and it summarizes it for you. So when you're ready to push that, I mean, like, I was like, dang, that's
That's
cool.
nice.
I
Yeah,
know because I'm like I tell everybody I am the worst podcaster, laziest podcaster ever. Like I do. Like I don't edit. Don't ask me to edit. Please, dear God, don't ask me to edit. And so I like hit start, I hit stop, and then I go, ta-da, it's out there. And so it's
that's
almost
good.
like live show. And so yeah, so but I love the AI that'll do the summaries because everybody expect you got to do SEO, you got to do everything so everybody will see it and blah blah blah. But I'm looking always looking for the AI shortcut to get me there. Like so yeah, no, it's great. Yeah.
Those clips I highly recommend as
Oh,
well.
yeah, I use that too. It's awesome
Yeah,
sauce. Yeah, and I turn my buddy Guillermo Salazar onto Opus. He's like he's like an Opus king now. He's like using it all the time. Yeah, it's great. Opus Clips is awesome. Is awesome
it
for sure.
is.
Yeah, that's
Thank
great.
God for these tools in our
Yeah,
environment today. It's helping me out like perfect timing. If I had tried to
yeah,
do this even 5 years ago, I would not have been able
yeah.
to execute like I can now.
And I think what's cool about it, from especially from the prop tech industry, is now you're going to be able to build a solution so much faster, and you're
Yes.
not gonna it's not like back in the day when I was in tech in 1999, like because I'm old like that. It would be $5 million and take you 2 years to build something that was an
Did
MVP.
one thing, one
Yeah,
little
like
thing.
one little
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, and
totally.
now you get your MVP built and you're on to beta and you're moving on with life and it's just condensing with AI now. I mean, I'm ancient. I built my MVP back in 2021 and it took me a couple of years to kind of get it to kind of work out and figure itself out, right? And
Yeah.
figure and get to beta. But now people can build an MVP in like 6 months and then just move on with life. And it's just amazing to me where this industry is going to kind of go. um I think that's the super cool part about it, right? Is
Yeah.
that and so the idea people, the people that are in the industry can really just not know how to have to code and then use AI to help build a solution that's really useful for the industry, right? Which I
Yeah.
think I think is great. I think that's great for sure.
Solve problems faster,
Yeah,
right? Not
yeah,
take the status quo that we can't solve it,
yeah,
or normalize the problems we can't solve, and then leverage AI to help us get it done, or at least be able to experiment more, right?
yeah,
Even
yeah, yeah, yeah,
experimentation,
yeah,
to try to
yeah.
solve it.
I think so. And just doing scenario planning and hey, I really want to not have to sit in Excel and take hours to kind of go through pull all this data down and then like run your pivot tables and figure out like and just ask your computer, hey, what if we did this? And it
Totally.
tells you, right? I mean, like I think that's the next, in the next couple of years. I don't think it's gonna take us very long to kind of
No,
get
I don't. I had a vision last night. Sometimes I'll lay in bed and listen to music. I make music, so I'll listen to it and then sleep on it, to see what I want to change. But last night I was thinking about what if you were a property manager or a regional property manager and you woke up in the morning and your phone told you what your themes were for the day as a best practice. It's like, hey, you got 3 notices yesterday as a property manager. Here are the insights. Here's your KPIs and the things you're driving towards and your ownership goals. And I'm like, this is where it is going,
yeah,
where you can get out of bed and that information is put together in such a way that it helps you to be that best property manager or regional manager and cut through the noise.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot of noise in property managers
yeah,
world. There's a lot of noise in regional property managers, day-to-day maintenance managers. So there's,
yeah,
I think, a lot of opportunities that are just starting to be uncovered, when
right.
we look at the future of work and driving to those main themes of what you should focus on day to day. I think is
Yeah.
a it would be a gift.
And that's what AI is great at, is cutting through the grunt work, right? I mean, processing the amounts of data to give you, as long as you trust it and
Yeah,
it's giving you the insights that you need, right? And it's not
yeah,
hallucinating, telling you weirdo things that you don't really need to focus on.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, I hope that I mean, I had this, conversation with Kevin Stockman from Cherry the other day. And Kevin's a good dude. And we were he's like, Amy, but there is value in having to slog through the manual process, right? Like if you're not listening to the magic crystal ball of the AI machine and you're
Yeah.
actually having to slog through it so you understand it
Right.
inherently,
Yeah.
and I think there is value there, right? I mean, like no one's going to really understand the value of that software, that AI tool, unless they went through the painful process of having to,
Yep.
do whatever it is on a day-to-day basis on a property, right? Like just get through the first 3 days and payments and then the work order onslaught that happens because people are paying their rent and they think about the things that they want to get fixed, right? Or they don't want to pay their rent and they're thinking about trying to get out of it because there's things that need to
That
be.
never happens.
Oh, never happens. Never. Yeah, but just yeah, no, I mean it's interesting for sure. Like it's
It's it's a topic of like the information I've acquired over the last couple of decades is invaluable, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
In the industry, the information you have. It's how do you leverage AI but still train and educate so that you actually have thought leaders in the industry.
that's
And I think that's a topic I'm looking to try to figure out in my engagements because you want the AI, but you still have to question it. Like it's
yeah,
not, and you
yeah,
should question it. It's similar to any software that makes recommendations.
right.
So you want to look at it and then have a thoughtful thought leadership conversation around the nuances of it. So I don't think that'll ever go away. Again, it goes back to still going to need different roles in this new
Right.
world.
Yeah.
Um, but how do you train to that if you're a property management company? How do you how do you mentor to that? And I think that's going to change a little bit, especially around AI tools as they start to bring that strategy and recommendation.
Yeah, I think what AI is really highlighting is how bad we are at maintaining our data. And yeah, I mean, and so you have to pair AI with good data, right? And then not only that is way back in the day, when I was in HR, we had this really big push around, and it still hasn't come to fruition, but I think AI will make it around knowledge management. Like
Oh,
you don't even know what your people know. Like they can
yes.
know all sorts of skills and all sorts of, they speak different languages, have all this stuff, but you don't know what's sitting in the mental capacity of your team. You don't have
Yeah.
that ability. So imagine pairing up a really good knowledge management system with all the data that your building's providing with an AI tool. And then now you can really help people, right? You can help your staff because it's not just the AI that's doing that. That was like Joe from some other property that used to live in some other country could tell you how to fix that problem, right? And so it's combining the best of like the human element and all the knowledge that we have, all the tacit knowledge that we have that we really do. I mean, I felt it like when a maintenance tech left one of our properties, no one knew where anything was anymore. No one knew
Tribal knowledge.
all the
Yeah.
tribal
Yeah.
knowledge goes away. So if
Yeah.
you can
So
help kind of gather some of that tribal knowledge, or at least, I mean, that's why we created Facilimax, but I'm not going to go there. But but if we can, get some of that tribal knowledge, understand even, but not just tribal knowledge, but then all the other skill sets that people walk around with them every day. They have the
yes.
skill sets that they've learned that could benefit the company, but the company just doesn't know they have them. Right.
No, that's so well said. Have you met Jen Finn at HIO yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh. Oh my, I love what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's actually presenting at Optech next week.
Oh,
And
great.
yeah, and she has a solution that is actually on what you're talking about. You take every single piece of information that a company has, lease agreements, addendums,
Mhm.
policy, procedures, employee handbook, any kind of documentation, and it
Mhm.
leverages AI, and then team members can text a number and get instant answers. So you got a new
Oh, that's
leasing
great.
consultant on a
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
That leasing consultant has a resident in their face about a lease break. It tells them exactly what to say, where to reference it in the lease agreement, and they move on with their day. And if it can't help, then it escalates a ticket automatically. And I'm like, this is smart. And then it also
Yeah.
shares themes and data insights to the
Very
corporate
cool.
team around training and development and kind of needs.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
I
really
was
cool.
super impressed when I saw it at Blueprint. I was like, this is good. I like this.
Yeah.
Disruptive.
Yeah, no, that's great for sure. Anything that can help, right? I mean, you just want to be AI enabled. You don't want to be AI replaced,
Mhm.
right? But I mean,
No,
you're right. I think some jobs will get replaced. It's a point.
sure.
I mean, but as it gets, the AI's got to learn, right? And they're gonna have to learn from humans, and so we have to make sure we're giving it really good data. But yeah, no, I think it's super cool to see, and I think with the digital twins and everything that else that's coming out around that. I think that'll kind of change the game too. But yes, it's going to change the jobs, right? The maintenance tech is now going to have to be more tech savvy. They're going to have to learn to look at schematics on a Google Glass and understand what it's telling them to do, right? They're going to have to and even maybe program that or tell it to do certain things, right? So it's going to be interesting for sure.
And
Yeah.
then it gets into multilingual needs
Yeah.
on the software side, which is not going to go away. That adds more complexity, I think, on the management side of the AI and that as well. So,
Yeah.
plenty of work to be done long term, just different work.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it just creates newer jobs. And as long as people can pivot, I mean, and understand that, but I think the cool thing about it is it level sets everybody because those new jobs are like there's nobody that has those skills, right? So anybody who wants to be opportunistic and chase those jobs can, right? It can be like
Yeah.
anybody. You want to go be a data scientist and do AI ML engineering, go get a certificate at wherever, and you can be the next AI ML guy, right? And
Yeah.
then, and I think anybody who wants to has the ambition can do it, and it doesn't there's no like college degree required. I mean, like you can just go change your life and pivot. I had my grandfather was great, and God bless his soul, he's not here anymore, but he was like, Amy, he goes, how old are you? And I can't remember, I think it was like 40 or something. He goes, just think about it, Amy, like if you were 80, that's enough time to do like four more careers, like a 20 year,
It's so
20 year.
true.
It's true. So you've got, if you got 20 years ahead of you, that's a whole other career. And like if you got another 20 ahead of you, that's a whole other career. Right. And so he's like, it's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. If you
This
worked together
topic,
for 10 years or now 10 years, right? If you did 10 years, it's a whole other career. Right. So it's interesting.
this topic is actually naturally coming up in many industries and friends right now, about all of us in this kind of Gen X arena and even late millennial
Hmm.
not wanting to slow down. We want to continue to learn.
Yeah.
We want to continue to provide value. We want
Right.
to skill change. We want to, um, I hate using the word stay relevant, but it's
Yeah.
actually, I don't know. I like to have a beginner's mindset.
Mhm.
Highly
Yeah.
uncomfortable for a perfectionist, but it helps me get out of that perfectionism and learn. So
Yeah.
I like your grandfather a lot. I would
Yeah.
love to have
Yeah.
talked to him.
It was super cool. Yeah, no, for sure. And
Yeah,
the funny thing is, and I guess I hate to bring this, well, where it's a girl conversation, we'll just go there. So I have to like when I date guys my age, like I'm single too, and I can't date guys my age because they want to retire. And I'm looking at them like, who are you? I still got things to do, man. I'm like gonna be working till I'm 100. Like, who are you, crazy person? And he just wants
yeah,
to retire and not do anything and blah, blah, blah. And it could be that I have younger kids, so that kind of keeps you young too. But still, even if I didn't have the kids, I would still want to be doing this or chasing that that's just kind of how
sure.
I'm wired. And I find it super interesting that I have to date younger guys because they're still kind of in that mode because they're with me. So yeah, there you go. There's
They're
my
still
dating
working.
stories, y'all. There's my dating story.
That's a good one.
But
You can
I
put
mean,
this video short up on your dating profile. It
oh,
might
hey,
be a
there you go. I'm telling you. Yeah. Something's got to work because I've been single for a long time and nothing's working so far. So, all right. All right. Squirrel. We're going to talk about dating stories on the show. I tell you, I don't edit anything. It's going in there. I'm
I
saying.
love this. I like it. This is very conversational, which I think ends up making it much more engaging. So
Yeah.
it's a good topic.
That's very funny. That's very cool. So, what's next? So you're doing consulting and are you working, it's operational consulting, right? Not PropTech Pacific's more operational kind of stuff?
Also prop tech. So my goal is to scale up to 4 consultants besides me with deep expertise this year.
Yep.
But engagements are around people,
Mhm.
processes, finding NOI or cost savings, prop
Right.
tech selection, and
Mhm.
then prop tech go to market or customer journey. That's
Yeah.
really kind of, stood up 2 new vertical markets at my last role.
Mhm.
So go to market strategies, journey,
Yeah.
experience, those kinds of things, strategic pivoting.
I think it's so key for the industry overall, because you're filling the gap at the real estate company, because the real estate companies, they're just getting into where they have like technical people on their staffs, right? I mean, this is a huge, and so how do you make a smart decision about the tech stack that ultimately rules your world? And they've
Yeah.
they've done it in haphazard fashion up until now. And generally, I mean, there's some good real estate companies have great CIOs and they do fabulous work, but that's not the prevalence in the market. And so I think the prop tech consultants fill that role, right? Until the real estate companies want to grow up and be mature and go, oh yeah, we really need a CIO and a whole IT staff, and we need, data scientists and other things like that. Until they get there, they're going
Yeah.
to need consultants, and that's going to help the industry overall, because the prop tech companies need somebody to champion them to say, hey, looking at your situation here, you crazy real estate company who is still doing accounting on paper, you need these people, right? I mean, you need somebody to be the voice of reason because we're trying to
Handwritten
tell
ledger
them, we're trying to
cards.
tell
What do
them,
you mean?
yeah, exactly. We're like the prop tech company going, we have an umbrella. You're standing in the rain. Like, would you like an umbrella? And they're like, nah, I'm great, good. Yeah,
I like being wet.
I like being
Um, yeah,
awesome.
I like standing out here in the storm. It's great. It's interesting. Kind of mid-level market of side. There's a lot of property management companies emerging all over the country. I think that there's a lot of opportunity for
Yeah.
pushing on software companies for what they really need.
Mhm.
If they don't have people who can speak technically, I think that becomes a challenge. I am not a technical person by trade. I'm more marketing and operations and then converted into technical. So
Right.
being able to kind of communicate what you really need is important.
Mhm.
I would also say a theme is, especially in prop tech selection, is a lot of times finance people are picking solutions, and it goes back to, and that's one part of the equation, but we have to think about our resident experience and what are we providing, and we have to think about our on-site staff experience. And those 2 arenas, I love hearing that conversation going on out in the space all over. We need a lot more of it and a lot more planning around it. And it goes back to go and visit, go talk to residents, go talk to leasing consultants and maintenance technicians. And what's their world like?
Yeah, for sure. Are you seeing more adoption into digital infrastructure, like managed Wi-Fi? And I mean, because there's a good bulk of multifamily properties that don't have it, right? I
That's what I
mean,
was going to say. It depends,
yeah.
right? It depends. And some of my content this week was really about, a lot of markets are oversaturated right now. And if you
Mhm.
do not have a repositioning plan, and I think a lot of people think repositioning is just unit renovation.
I know.
Maybe your units are already renovated, but are you up to date? And I think a lot of properties are not, and they're like, oh, we don't need it. And then at the same time,
Yep.
that market is fully saturated with new product that has all of it.
Mm.
So you have to look, I think, at providing those repositioning items that aren't necessarily
Yeah.
tangible, feel like wood floors, appliances, and maybe you don't even need that. Maybe you just need the community Wi-Fi. Maybe
Yeah.
you just need the community access. I think you have to be really thoughtful about it. Again, go talk to your teams; they'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly. They'll tell you exactly. I mean, just yeah. I mean, it is definitely. I mean, everybody's penny pitching, and I get it. I mean, it's a tough time right now, but I'm hoping, and I'm going to talk when I'll be at CRETech. I'm hoping to hear some conversations around. Okay, let's use let's use this green financing and
Yeah.
marry that up with technology so that the multifamily can get the technology they need, even though it might not necessarily be green, it's access control, but it's a part of all the other things that we're doing around conserving water and conserving
Yeah.
energy and all these other things. And you can get, your access controls too. Like,
Yeah.
but I think that is a way for technology to be adopted. The owners can feel less of a pinch, like because they can get it financed either through CPACE, through their, on their tax bill, or a part of their stack when they're doing their acquisition, some way that we can do
Yeah.
this, that it'll feel less hurtful, it'll feel less, painful to do this technology adoption because they're going to need to do it. I mean, at some point, it's going to hurt them. They're not going to be able to lease. I mean, we've had what is that? I know what it is. It comes out every couple of years. It's a tenant preference survey. NMHC does it with whoever. I can't remember. But I remember it was like 6 years ago. Maybe it was like people wanted Wi-Fi and they would check their cell phone. And and that was like kind of like it was like it went from like a nice to have to almost it's like a requirement to lease, like in a short order, like 6 years or something. It was like 80% people say it's a requirement to lease now, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
and it's crazy how quickly that went. Because stuff we used to hang out nice to have for like a long time. And now
Yeah.
but that one moved. That was like, no, we have to have this. And it's interesting how the industry's kind of been slow to adopt it.
That's wise statistics. I would go back to prop tech companies. If you're not clearly able to share the results of your technology, whether
Yep.
that's savings or
Mhm.
revenue, you're in trouble. And
Yep.
I don't see a lot of that going on. Like I'll go to different conferences and I'm like, what is your value proposition? What is the case study and the stories? And even if you can't share your client's name, you can put a case study together and say, we had a client with this many properties and they did X and they got this out of it. We
Mhm.
need to tell the stories of value so that you can show the way to your ownership, especially if you're on the fee management side. You always have to go and sell it back to your ownership
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
So make it easy. Go make it easy to sell.
Yeah.
Have
No,
those real value propositions there and what it gets you.
I got you. I mean, I learned that lesson when I was early on talking to property managers. And I'm like, I'll just go sell to owners and asset managers. I mean, that was not no, you just need to give your property management company the tools. They'll sell it for you because they want to make their lives easier. But
They
you just
do.
have to, I mean, you can sell to both, but make sure you equip them with everything that they all possibly need. For sure. I learned that lesson. And it's like, tell them we're going to save you this amount of money. Like if you put this in place, we'll be able to do X, Y, and Z with it, right? And that kind of thing. And I think it was, I mean, Proptech originally was focused so much on the revenue side for a long time, right? You had Knock and all these others, focused, and Leasehawk and everybody else kind of focused on how do we generate revenue. And then it's now gone to, okay, how do we control costs? How do we optimize operations? How
Yeah.
would you,
Yeah.
those kinds of things. So yeah, no, but it's good. It's all good. But I agree. I agree. That's a good lesson for the prop tech companies for sure. Make sure you can equip your stakeholders so they can go sell it for you. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's great. So that includes prop tech consultants. That includes the property manager,
Everybody. Yeah, absolutely.
right? That they understand what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, and how you really can save. But yeah, yeah. We're new, so if I go into my little company, we're building out those case studies right now. So we did it on my property, and I'm like, okay, everybody's going to discount it, so like I'm not going to even throw it out there because I know what we did. But now we're getting those like the pilots and getting those case studies, and I was like, I know it's just going to take one. It's going to just take one. People are going to recognize them. They go, oh, yes. So
Light bulb.
light
Yeah.
bulb. Yeah, no, it's great. So yeah, we'll have those case studies out here soon. It'll make it easier for sure for everybody. But that's a good lesson. For
I
sure.
love
Well, look
that.
at that. Man, look at this. We're at the end of the hour. We're almost here. And look at how it goes. We just sit here and chat. And it's like, oh my goodness. It's so
You're
much
easy to
fun.
talk to. You're
Oh,
really easy to talk to.
great.
That always helps.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So you're going to be at Optech. How else can people chase you down and get a hold of you?
So LinkedIn's always really great. I'm Shelley Robinson on LinkedIn. And I've got I'm one of those, I publish my number and my email on my LinkedIn profile, but you can also send me a message on LinkedIn. I'm here to chat. And also I have my company page up now, PMX Partners, if you want to check that out as well.
Very cool. And talk about the little thing, the Mike Brewer and his cool thing, the multifamily media. You just joined that, right?
I did. I'm launching Proptech Pulse on the Multifamily Media Network. I've recorded my first 3 episodes. I've got 3 more coming in the next week and a half, and then we'll launch in November and start to get kind of top innovations. I'm really focusing on how is work going to change in the next 5 years, and then how is prop tech going to change in the next 5 years. And those are the topics. And you are invited to come on the show and
Oh, of course. I'd love
talk about
to.
you. I would love to
Yeah.
have you.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Well, so good to have you on the show. It's been great.
Thank
And
you.
we'll have to do it again soon, for sure.
I would love that.
All right, awesome. Let's see. There we go. Have a good